listeners, welcome to Off Over 50 and Fired Up. Now what with Linda
and Shelley.
So last episode we talked about the 9 nifty notes, right, Shelley?
Yes. Oh, so funny, Linda.
Right.
Yes.
To consider when you're making a career change. We're going to continue on the same theme of career change and talk about how to deal with the emotions of it. But before we get started, Shelley, what's your wine recommendation for this episode?
Well, Linda, surprise, surprise. It's a red.
Oh my God, a red. I can't believe it. What's the surprise red that you have?
Actually, Linda, it's a Rioja from Spain. It's from the Vuela de Familia Bastida.
Very good, Shelley. She did a good job on that. Pretty good.
I did take 6 years of Spanish.
You did.
It's hard for me.
It shows
It's been a long, long time, but it's actually a quite tasty wine.
All right. So, to
family.
family.
Cheers.
Cheers. So let's get started and get on to the handoff discussion part of our podcast on career changes and the emotions of dealing with it. I think going through a career change is very similar to like when you lose a job, either through downsizing or whether you take an early retirement that was unexpected. If you decide to pursue another career because of that, it might be bittersweet, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Lynn. It is bittersweet because you got you're excited about the new opportunity, but you still have that sense of loss. It's all scary and exciting, all rolled up at the same time in a big ball of emotions.
Exactly, but it doesn't need to be a roller coaster ride, right? Emotional roller coaster ride. If you know what's coming, right? If you can kind of figure out how to kind of get a sense of the anxiety and being able to how to reduce that, how to deal with some of the emotional phases that you might experience, both good and bad, right? So Shelley and I have experienced some of these as we've gone through these new opportunities, as part of podcasting and setting up our new consulting business.
Yep, we did. And we have. And, we got some really good insight from an article called 6 Months.
6 months? Is it 6 months, Shelley?
No.
What was it?
It's taken us 6 months. So it's 6 emotions you'll experience during a job change from payscale.com. We actually referenced this when we were doing our podcast, Show Me the Money, Honey, where we talked about salary negotiations.
I think that show was called Just Show Me the Money, Salary Negotiations. In case our listeners want to look it up, it was episode 30.
But I really like Show Me the Money, Honey.
That's right. She always has to add that little twist. So getting back to our handoff discussion on salary negotiations. Wait. You confused me now, Shelley. What the heck are we talking about?
I don't know, Lynn. What are we talking about?
All right. So it's career changes and the 6 emotions you need to prepare for when you transition. But Shelley, some of our listeners will be like, well, why is it important to prepare for emotions when you're talking about a career change? Isn't that all positive? You're doing something new. You're going on.
Well, not really, Lynn. I mean, sometimes, change itself isn't always easy, right? You're leaving, you've got a lot of mixed emotions. Sometimes you're making a career change and you're not sure whether you're going to, have the right qualifications for this career change. So that alone can be a little bit scary. 40% report that they don't know what kind of career change that they want, and whether 37% also think they don't have the right qualifications. So all of that can be very stress reducing. We talked about these percentages in our last episode.
So in context, as we talk about the emotions that you may be feeling, one way to reduce those emotions is to really, before you go and pursue a career change, really do a self-assessment and say, what am I really good at? What are my strengths? Where are my gaps? What is it that I really want? And making sure that you have those answered before you go on and try to make a career change. I think that's very important because I think all the stuff we're going to talk about, the different emotions, will just get exasperated if you don't deal with those questions and you don't feel like you're prepared for that career change. So what are those emotional components? Well, the first one is depression and sadness. You might feel that. And it's okay to acknowledge those feelings, but you got to pull yourself out of it. You got to get yourself out of that.
That's right. You got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You got to dust yourself off and you got to move on. That's what my father always used to tell me when I was younger.
So before you become a Debbie Downer or a negative Nancy, it is okay to wallow for a short period of time in that space, but you got to bounce back. Remember, Shelley, that networking meeting that you went to when you were cornered by those 2 or 3 people?
Oh, my first networking experience, Linda, was disastrous. I felt worse than when I first went in there.
That's right. I felt really bad because I ended up with that great group. We had a really positive and a really good discussion about careers, and I made some great connections. But you, on the other hand, when I saw you, I swear to God.
You felt bad for me?
I did.
You should have felt bad for me. Yeah, you're all happy over there, and you're all conversing and laughing and, hunky-dory, happy. And what am I doing? I'm handing out Kleenex. It was so depressing.
Right. So that proves my point. Right? Because those people kind of wallowed and they stayed in that mindset. So you really have to get yourself out of that mindset, whatever it takes to pull yourself out. And I have to say, you need to rely on people for that. Like, look towards people who can help you pull yourself out of that sad depression and feeling sorry for yourself.
And the second thing they talked about was guilt, right? So you might not feel sadness, but you might have some guilt because you're leaving your buddies behind, people that you've built really strong relationships with, and you go to lunch with and you hang out with, and you got these strong bonds, and you might feel like you're the lucky one that's getting out, and you're leaving them in a crappy situation.
So when you're leaving and you're leaving for something new, the other thing that might happen from an emotional perspective is also you might feel fear and anxiety, right? That's a third one. Since you're kind of leaving something that's extremely familiar, you know everything, you're going on to like new people, new responsibilities, new expectations, new culture. Everything is new. And it can be very overwhelming for some people. So you have to kind of figure out if you are one of those people who kind of are a little afraid of newness, you need to figure out how you're going to cope with that. What is it that's going to make you successful and able to get over this fear and anxiety, and how you're going to believe in yourself that you can do it, this new career change.
Right. And you have to just kind of reiterate all the time that, as one door closes, another one's going to open, and it's most likely going to be a better one.
So we've talked about all negative kind of emotions, fear, anxiety, guilt, sadness. Are there any positive emotions going through this transition, Shelley?
Yes, there are actually, Linda, but you have to just remind yourself though that you're entitled to your initial reaction. It's what you do with that initial reaction. So it's important that you accept your decision, to change your career, and then you just got to move on.
Right. So it's all about accepting it and making sure that you kind of are more focused on the new piece of moving on to your new career and embracing it, like looking forward. For example, for us, when we heard that we were going to be retired out, we immediately found an emotional outlet through the podcast. We were looking forward. It really helped us kind of work through our feelings, get into a positive state of mind, and be really productive. And now, we have the podcast going, we have new career opportunities. It's really moving in a great direction.
Yeah, so it's really important that you think about how do I change from the negative to the positive and creating a more positive mindset. You got to really, like Linda said earlier, believe in yourself and give yourself a credit for actually stepping out of your comfort zone. And that's what we did with our podcast.
Yeah, and I loved it because it helped me look at the fun of the new challenge and learning something new, and it all kind of just snowballed into something that really made me feel positive anyway.
Yeah, and it wasn't always easy. There were nights that we just really wanted to kill each other, but we didn't. Yes. We survived.
But those glasses of wine really helped.
Oh, absolutely. The more the better.
Absolutely. So, as always, you can find these 6 emotional phases and all the other reference materials from our podcast in our off toolkit on our website, www.over50andfiredup.com.
And don't forget, you can also get our wine recommendations too.
So always, please feel free to give us your feedback and stories by going on our website and clicking on Contact Us or emailing us at offnowwhat@gmail.com. Also, you can comment on our Twitter and LinkedIn sites.
Yes, and finally, remember to follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn.
So, thanks for listening. Bye.